when you've had the opportunity to talk to some of the equipment guys that are here for us today as well. So what we'd like to do now is introduce David, if you'd like to come up. So David's hosting us today in this amazing setup that we've been given opportunity to use. And what we've asked is for David just to sort of run us through a little bit of their story as to why they've invested in the equipment that they have currently, and just really, give us a bit of a warts and all insight into what you're doing here.
There was a lot more warts than anything, I think, Helen. When I first heard about all this equipment, it was a few years ago. There was a deal on a discount on all the gear. And being a Scottish background, I thought, well, that's all right. I'll get a bit of this because I'll get it cheaper. So I bought a fair bit of it. Well, not a fair bit. I bought a stick reader and the XR3000 and a set of cheap load bars. So I was all sort of fired up, but I was working on the place of my own at the time, and I got the tags in and I started to use it, and I couldn't get the Bluetooth to work. So I thought, I'll go and find a $10 an hour job to do. I think I can't be bothered with this. So I sort of lost interest. But since then, I suppose I'm a bit of a reflective thinker, and I grasped the potential of it pretty quickly. So I'm just waiting for another opportunity to get back into it again, and I'm just ready to go again. So hopefully, I think that the important thing with this sort of stuff is that when you buy it, I don't know whether there's any contractors out there who actually show you how to use it properly, but if there is, make sure you get hold of someone who can walk you through it right from the start and help you set it up, because I had no one like that, and as soon as something went wrong, it was all too hard, so I gave up on it. Yeah.
Okay, so what was your main objective in mind? So what were the pieces of data that you were looking to capture?
Well, we had a bit of a coop work started here for a while, and that was part of it, just to handle that technology. Just record the different measurements we took against those stud lambs. We don't have a stud anymore, but the other one was, I could see that the one that I was interested in was recording which ewes were twin bearers and single bearers. Remember once we'd gone and scanned a lot of sheep and had them in, the twins were in one paddock and the singles in another one. We had some hunters come through over one weekend and they left the gate open. So they were all one mob again. So I thought then if I'd had all those ear tags recorded then, I'd be able to put them through a draft and then, clean that up.
That's great. And so going forwards, what do you see is going to be the important information that you'll generate using the equipment that you've got currently?
I think growth rates would be good, and also the pregnancy status. I want to get that down. I'd like to get into, so I've got a dual sort of wool and meat business here. So with fleece weights, I think the whole idea is just get rid of all your passengers is the important thing, and because whether we like it or not, our costs are always going to go up. So we've got to find some productivity advantage in sort of maintaining those animals that are creating the wealth for you. So that's where I'd focus my attention.
Yeah. And you guys actually have the dispensing, so for your animal health?
We've got a Tapari gun. Now it's not Bluetooth, so we don't. It's not. We just set it up for one rate. It's a cheaper model than the Bluetooth one. We bought that last year. Now we did strike one problem with that, is we were drenching with Ramaton, and because of the constitution of Ramaton is a powder mixed with a drench, it wasn't delivering the right dose rate because you shake it up that much, you sort of get it in suspension, and it was compressing the volume in the tube, so we didn't use it for our Ramaton program, but we'll use it for all the others. That we, yeah.
Okay, great.
And all the other thing is that Tapari hadn't developed a what do you call it, the what's the bit that you stick in their mouth?
The
Nozzle.
Yeah.
They hadn't developed one of them for smaller sheep. I mean, the nozzle was quite big. The whole thing is quite big, and they are working on a smaller nozzle and barrel. So when they do that, I'll get hold of one of them. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know whether the other ones do it or not. I've got a smaller barrel on theirs, whether they do. Yeah. Yeah,
So, I mean, I think that's a really great example of understanding, working through what the limitations of the equipment that you have as well, and then making a, you know, sound, solid choice around when you're applying that.
Yeah.
So just from my point of view, at the moment you've got a manual weigh crate,
Yeah.
a stick reader,
Yeah.
XR3000.
That's right.
What else do you need?
We probably don't need anything else apart from that.
Correct
Yeah.
answer.
You've got to be you have your head open to use it properly. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's a great technology, RFID. I was just up on the over Easter. I was up at Byron Bay Blues Fest, and when you go in the, I don't know how many were there, more than 30,000 at least, and you go in the gate and they put a tag around your arm. There's an RFID tag on your hand. That's how you that's how they measure everything up there. So you go in and you tap the tag against a reader and go in. And I saw this place called I think a load up station, I think it was called. And you go over to the load up station, you tap your tag on a reader, put some money on your tag. This is for your booze. So you put on whatever you like. And then when you buy a beer, you go into the big long queues everywhere. But they've eliminated all that mucking around with money. You go up, to buy a beer, you say, I'll have 3 James Squires or whatever. And so you tap your tag, they give you your beer, you tap off, and it takes that money off your account. So it's everywhere, RFID, and everyone's using Nike, so that's just the same thing.
Yeah.
Credit card tap on,
Yeah.
So I remember a story I heard James Bellamy tell, the biologist. He said 2 caterpillars are walking along, crawling along, and a butterfly flies over the top of them. And one caterpillar says to the other, "What was that?" And the other caterpillar says, "I don't know, but you'll never get me up in one of those." So I think that's a bit the same as this. We'll eventually all have to take it on whether we like it or not.
And I think the reflection that RFID is not a new technology is a really important one. This has been around for a very long time, and it's been refined and refined and refined. So, whilst the application that we choose for it in our industry is new to us, it's not brand new. So there's been a lot of work done behind the scenes to get this technology to where it is, and it's actually it's positioning us now to really jump on board and take advantage. And I think that applies across the board, not just RFID, but many of the technologies that are going to become available to our industry.